Welcome, product enthusiasts, to another episode of Product Bucker, where we are dusting off the digital relic and explore the fascinating story behind the technology that shaped our world. Today, we are taking a trip back to the late 2000s, a time of fierce smartphone competition, to remember a platform that was ahead of its time, brimming with innovation, yet ultimately faded from the mainstream. That's Palm WebOS. For those who might not remember or too young to know, Palm was a pioneer in personal digital assistant space, which we call PDA. But as a smartphone revolution took hold, they aimed to redefine the mobile experience with WebOS. This wasn't just another operating system, it was a bold vision. So, what made WebOS so special? Well, at its core, WebOS was built on a new few key design principles. First and foremost, it was web centric. Imagine an entire mobile operating system built on the languages of internet like HTML, CSS and JavaScript. That was a WebOS. This was pretty radical idea back then, as most operating systems relied on proprietary languages. Palm hoped this would attract web developers and quickly build a thriving app ecosystem. Secondly, WebOS was all about the user experience. They wanted it to be fast, fluid, and intuitive, designed from ground up for touch. Think natural gestures, swiping, flicking, pinching. These were all central to how you interacted with the OS. But perhaps the most iconic feature of WebOS was its approach to multitasking with cards. Forget clunky app switching. WebOS presented each running application as a virtual card. You could flick between them effortlessly, rearrange them like deck of cards, and simply flick them upwards to close them. It was a game changer and frankly still feels elegant today. And then there was synergy. This was Palm's way of unifying your digital life. It seamlessly integrated your contacts, calendars, and messages from various online accounts like Gmail, Facebook, you name it, into a single coherent view. No more bouncing between dozens of different apps just to check everything. Finally, the notification system was designed to be polite. Instead of intrusive pop-up taking over your screen, WebOS used the subtle banners that would slide into bottom, keeping you informed without disrupting what you were doing. So, on paper, WebOS sounded fantastic. But how did it stack up against the giants of the time? For example, Apple's iOS, Research in Motion's BlackBerry OS, and the burgeoning Android. Well, in several key areas, WebOS was arguably ahead of its curve. Its multitasking with different card system was far more intuitive and visually appealing than the early iterations of multitasking on iOS and Android. For non-intrusive notifications were also a breath of fresh air compared to the often disruptive alerts on the other platforms. Gesture navigation was another area where WebOS shone. While early iOS relied heavily on a single home button, WebOS embraced its multi-touch gestures for more fluid and direct interaction. And the synergy offered a level of integrated information management that wasn't comprehensive on its competitors at the time. Even features like universal search, dubbed just type, were well implemented and user friendly. However, it's important to remember while WebOS had these advantages in certain aspects, the operating system, it was often running on a hardware that had its limitation. which we will touch on later. So it's fascinating to look back and see how influential some of WebOS's design elements were. You might be surprised to learn that even Apple's iOS, a platform that WebOS aimed to compete with, borrowed some ideas. Think about the app switcher on iOS. Doesn't it look a little familiar? The visual cards representing running apps, the ability to swipe through them. This bears a striking resemblance to WebOS's pioneering card based multitasking. Then there's a gesture navigation. While early iOS relied on the home button, later versions embraced edge swipes for navigation, mirroring the fluid gesture centric approach of WebOS. Even the control center in iOS, which you swipe down to access quick settings, seems to echo the convenience of the similar quick access features in WebOS. And while notification systems have evolved on all platforms, the initial non-intrusive banner style of WebOS likely influenced the development of less disruptive alerts across the board. Even the idea of integrating data from multiple online source services is now standard feature in iOS, a concept that WebOS championed early on with Synergy. It's a testament to the innovative thinking behind WebOS that the ideas continue to resonate in mobile landscape today. So who are the brilliant minds behind this innovative operating system? I would say the driving force behind the design of WebOS was undoubtedly Matthias Durate, who's head of design at Google right now and keep continuing his work for last 15 years. As a VP of Human Interface and User Experience at Palm, he held the team that convinced and implemented the iconic card systems, which is quite an inspiration. His vision for user-friendly and intuitive mobile experience was central to WebOS's design philosophy. Another key figure was Rich Dellinger, the user interface design architect who invented the lauded non-intrusive notification system and played a crucial role in developing application framework. Then there was Peter Skillman as a VP of design, also instilled focus on simplicity in Palm's design, which was evident in WebOS. It was truly a collaborative effort with numerous talented individuals contributing to the platform's unique identity. So with such an innovative operating system, why did Palm Pre, the first smartphone to run WebOS, ultimately fail to capture the significant share of the market? If you really ask me, this is a complex question with several contributing factors. Firstly, the hardware itself had issues. User reported wobbly sliding mechanism, fragile plastic screens, and cramped, somewhat difficult to use physical keyboard. Compared to sleek and robust feel of iPhone, the Pre often felt less premium. Secondly, Palm was entering a market already dominated by giants like Apple and BlackBerry, with the rapidly rising force of Android also in the mix. Competing with their massive resources and established ecosystem was a monumental challenge. Perhaps the most significant hurdle was lack of robust app ecosystem. Compared to the hundreds of thousands of apps available on iOS and Android, Palm's app catalog was relatively small, making the Pre less appealing to the consumers who had to come to expect a wide range of applications. Another parameter was carrier exclusivity. In the US, Palm Pre initially launched exclusively with Sprint, a carrier with smaller subscriber base than its rivals, limiting its potential reach. Yeah, some argue that Palm Pre's marketing and messaging also fell short. While Pre was innovative, it lacked a clear wow factor in its design, I would say hardware design, and the Palm may have struggled to clearly define its target audience. Furthermore, the pace of innovation and updates was also slow. Users grew frustrated with delays in the new OS versions and promised features like Adobe Flash taking long time to materialize. Finally, some strategic missteps at the executive level, such as reportedly underestimating the demand of the larger screens, and simple fact that Palm had limited financial resources compared to its competitors, all contributed to its struggles. Now we are coming to the main segment. So, what can we as product managers and tech enthusiasts learn from the story of Palm WebOS? Despite of its market failure, WebOS offers some invaluable lessons which we should pay attention to and think while we develop the products. So I've summarized them in few pointers. Let's go through them one by one. Firstly, the user experience and innovation are paramount. WebOS was praised for its forward-thinking UX, and that's something every product should strive for. However, innovation alone isn't enough. Secondly, building a thriving ecosystem is really crucial. Without a strong developer community and wide range of apps, even the most innovative platforms will struggle. Thirdly, hardware matters. The physical product needs to be reliable and well designed. It's the tangible interface with your brilliant software, and it needs to support the software. So, hardware matters. Fourthly, the strategic partnerships and broad market reach are essential for adoption. Limiting your distribution can severely hinder your potential. Fifthly, timely innovation and updates are vital in fast moving industry. You need to keep pace with the user expectation and the market trends. Sixthly, understanding market trends and consumer needs are non-negotiable. You need to know where the market is going and what your user wants. Seventhly, financial planning and resource allocation are critical, especially when competing with larger players. And finally, focus and clear messaging are the key to resonate with your target audience. So Palm's WebOS may no longer be a household name, but its impact on the mobile landscape is undeniable. It was a platform brimming with fresh ideas, many of which have found their way into the operating system which we use today. The story of WebOS serves as a powerful reminder that even the most innovative technology can falter without holistic approach that considers hardware, ecosystem, market strategy, and execution. It's fascinating chapter in the history of mobile computing, and the one continues to offer valuable insights for anyone who is involved in building and launching technology products. I would pause here and I would keep it to you. This as a food for thought. I would also recommend that you go ahead and research about the operating system and Palm WebOS and Palm as a device itself. I'll attach some YouTube links in the description and would request you to go through it. That will add more dimensions to your knowledge about this particular OS. That's all. Thank you for tuning into Product Bucker. Join us next time as we delve into another captivating story from the world of product. Until then, keep exploring the digital world around you. Thank you.